with you, sharing some news from Argentina. In the last year and a half, Argentina has taken a radical turn in queer politics due to the new government, a kind of liberal conservative government. So the country went from being a leader in transgenderism to being a leader in anti-woke agenda. The new government immediately dissolved the Ministry of All Genders. I don't know if you remember, we had for 4 years a Ministry for All Genders and Women and Diversities. It was immediately dissolved by the new government, and along with the new ministry, with the Ministry of All Gender, were dissolved many national programs for genders and diversities. For example, national programs to expand rights for all genders, national programs from training in genders and diversity, a program to expand political participation to genders and diversity, programs for genders equality in work, employment, production, science, health, a program for applying genders and diversity perspectives in rural development. All of these programs were dissolved. And according to the official numbers of the government, since Argentina eliminated the Ministry of All Genders, crime rates have dropped. For example, femicides are 14% down, sexual crimes are 12% down, and human trafficking is 35% down. Those are the numbers of the government. Also, the National Institute Against Discrimination, Xenophobia, and Racism was dissolved. It was actually a queer apparatus at all. And in addition, the government banned the so-called inclusive language and gender perspective in public administration and official communication. Last year, an executive order banned hormone treatments and gender reassignment for children. And the National Secretariat of Education is reviewing some content in sexual education in schools, which is actually a queer platform. And the government is trying to remove references to gender identity. However, the concrete implementation of educational policies depends on not the federal government, but the provincial government. So it is not sure that it can happen because these provincial governments, many of them are still captured by transgender agenda. Basically, the gender as a political category has disappeared in Argentina. At the federal level, Argentina does not sign any agreement that mention gender in either domestic or foreign affairs. Concerning international policies, Argentina rejects the UN 2030 agenda, considering it is an ideological interference in sovereignty of the state and left-wing globalist agenda and so on. So this applies to United Nations as well as the Organization of American States, the Inter-American Commission, the World Forum, etc. Argentina does not sign the documents that mention genders at all, or even Argentina has pointed out the need to review the language, for example, women in their all diversity or gender identity and expression or hate crimes, etc. So this is the international agenda in Argentina, complete rejection to genders as a political category. Another important news is the recent organization of parents and families against gender ideology. There are two major organizations. One is called United Parents against gender ideology, and the other one is called Manada, which is an organization of parents of children with gender dysphoria. Last year, these parents filed a criminal complaint against the director of the education of Buenos Aires government, not the national government, but the government of the Buenos Aires province, because the director and the education and department in general distributed textbooks in schools that include explicit sexual contents, pedophile, and other topics considered inappropriate for students and children. The director and also the chief of the Buenos Aires province are accused of corruption of minors, and this is the case is in the justice. The group Manada of parents with children with gender dysphoria has several cases in the justice, and they are also promoting a bill to modify the gender identity law. So this is the atmosphere here. It's starting to be questioned, the law of gender identity. So probably in the future, we have some hope that it changed. Another important change is about surrogacy, because the current government considers surrogacy as reproductive trafficking, a new form of modern slavery and sale of children. So Argentina is now discussing these terms with UN Women, and these terms apparently are being accepted. So we have a good perspective in surrogacy. Last year, the Federal Supreme Court issued the first ruling on surrogacy, reaffirming that the mother is who gives birth. The case was concerned a gay marriage who surrogate a baby and demanded to remove the mother from the birth certificate in order to name themselves as parents. The Supreme Court rejected the claim, arguing that eliminating the mother contravenes the legal and public order. After this ruling, Argentina became an uncertain country to subrogate, which is a very good news. Another important factor on surrogacy is that the repeal of a provision of Buenos Aires City that allowed the registration of babies born through surrogacy in the name of the buyers. So actually, in this framework, the justice has begun a number of investigation and prosecutions into trafficking in women for sexual exploitation and children trafficking. There are currently 4 cases in the justice with more than 57 people involved, and there are also 200 new possible cases under investigation. However, Argentina has not an explicit ban on surrogacy, so we need an explicit law, maybe, I hope, in the future. So that is our brief report. In short, Argentina's situation is quite different now than the rest of the continent. Argentina is aligned now with countries as United States, Peru, Paraguay, maybe El Salvador, and that's it. The rest of the country is in other agenda. So, well, we see it's quite a different scene than in the past. So that's it, our brief reports and news.